Rick.
Yeah.
Rick. I go live. Rick. How you doing here? Thank you for joining us here. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our new season of Wednesday Night Live. And for those of you who may be just visiting with us, I am Pastor K, and I will be hosting tonight along with my son, Pastor Ricky Johnson. And we will be your host for tonight. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. We are trying something out new, and that is we are Facebook Live, but also I'm on my Instagram page. So thank you, all of you folks who are on Instagram. We're just trying this out so to see how this works so that we can, be on both platforms. So again, thank you for being here. Also, it's 9 o'clock p.m. This is the time you guys selected that you wanted us to be on. us to be on, and I don't know if y'all knew this, but Abbott Elementary is on at 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's one of my favorite shows, but we're gonna make it work, okay? So I know you guys wanted the 9 o'clock because it give you time to get the kitties all fed, bathed, and bath and tucked into bed so that we can have some grown up talk, if you will. So if you are here on Facebook, please like and share out. We really would appreciate it. And also, if you are on YouTube, please hit that button and subscribe. I just want to add this. If you're on YouTube, you're probably on my YouTube page. And that's because First Christian is in YouTube jail. And I know that doesn't sound good for a church, but yeah, when we did our advertisement for this particular session here, and we were using the video of Trump talking about the election was a fraud, and we got cut. So they didn't like that. But anyway, for the meantime, you can join us on our page, on my page, on YouTube page, and if you want to join us there. All right. And of course, we over here on Instagram. Richard, where are you? Where art thou, Richard?
I am right here. Can you hear me?
There you go. Hi. Yes. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I just sent you the invite on Instagram, or sorry, request to join your Instagram. I didn't see anything come up through yet.
Well, I sent you an invite, so let me do that again.
Yeah, I'm on your IG on the First Christian. Trying new things.
You on what?
New things. I'm on your IG on First Christian.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now.
Then I saw you.
You on what? Two things. I'm on your IG on
stage,
First. Right? Say that again.
So I'm inviting you to join. So I should see your picture coming up, shouldn't I?
There you go. Okay. No issue.
Yeah, you need to back it down some.
All right. I'm thinking I'm good.
Okay.
Can you see me okay?
All righty. Hello again, everyone. Glad to have you here on tonight. Glad to see everyone checking in. Just want to remind you, if you want to jump into this conversation, just type in hashtag let me in. Hashtag let me in if you want to come on screen with us. We'd be more than glad to have you. So you can do that, but we do understand it's 9 o'clock. And I know for some of our sisters, we're already in our hair bonnets. And so we're not trying to be on screen, but it's okay. You can just go into the chat and we make sure that we will bring you in. All righty. So let's get ready to go. Richard, are you ready to jump into this thing?
Ready to do something. We're going to figure out what we're doing. Yeah, we're going to do something.
All right. Okay. So anyway, how this conversation for tonight started. Hold on a minute. I understand we're getting some feedback. Okay. All right, Ricky, is it on your side, Ricky?
Maybe. Hope not. My volume is low. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not sure.
All right. Is it still? You still hear the feedback? All right. Is it maybe because we are on both?
Is it really bad?
Okay. Everybody who's listening in, is the feedback bad?
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. We can hear it from Miss Janae Green. I don't know. It could be where my camera.
Kia said, "Yeah, you are echoing bad."
Okay, I'll try to move on away. So we're testing new things out, right?
Yep. So the echoing is out on Instagram. It's not on Facebook. Okay. Our engineer said it's on Instagram and not on Facebook.
Oh. Okay.
All right. I see Dante. Dante, is that any better? All right. Thank you, Ruth. Clear on Facebook. Oh, nope, not yet.
But the echo's not better.
Yeah.
It might be because how we have it set up. It could be. I'm trying to move stuff away, but not much I can really do right now. I can't mute my mic without totally killing everything, I guess.
All right. So do we just want to go straight on over? Because if it's too difficult for you guys to hear on Instagram, we maybe have to close it down.
I would. We only have 5 on Instagram anyway.
All right. Okay, Instagram folks, we tried it, but the echo was too bad. So come on over to Facebook and you can join us there. Okay. See you on the other side.
Some of that.
Kia said Mayday. I repeat Mayday.
So with that.
All right. Okay. So thank you guys for helping us out there. We did try it, but we will see if we can work on that because we definitely want to be able to go on both platforms because everybody's not over here on Facebook. And so we have folks who are over on Instagram. So hopefully we'll be able to accommodate that pretty soon. But anyway, we just want to get into tonight's conversation, if you will. And it really has come about because of questions that have come to us in reference to what's going on, what is going on in this world. Everything is happening and people are questioning and asking, where's God? Where's God? And it's not surprising that people are asking this question. It's not surprising that you're not hearing, listen, we are in end times. Is the world about to come to the end? And the reason I believe that we are just looking and wondering and questioning is because what we are living in and witnessing in today is really something that I would say I personally have never imagined some of the things we have experienced. I never imagined that I would see here in the United States of America 1 million people in body bags and having so many people dying from this hideous disease, this virus called the coronavirus. So many people dying until the morgues were overflowed. I never imagined I would see they were bringing in New York, bringing in ice trucks and to in order to put people's bodies in and to stack them up. I just never imagined I would see anything like that. I just imagined that I would never imagine or could believe that we would see people actually fighting over wearing a cloth or piece of paper across their mouth in order to help someone from not becoming ill. I never thought I would see flight attendants having to take self-defense classes to protect themselves against belligerent and violent passengers. We have seen so much that to me is totally unbelievable. And so it's understandable why people begin to question and ask, where is God in all of this? You've seen parents send their children off to school only to be killed like fish in a barrel. And the awful thing about that is that it seems like it's becoming a norm. It seems like it's becoming a norm. And that's not normal. We have seen a president who to refuse to accept an election, not in the history of the United States until 2020. We have seen that. We have seen insurrectionists scaling the walls of the Capitol with the sole intent of taking lives and overthrowing our democracy. That sounds like some kind of stuff that would happen in third world countries, But here in the United States, we are dealing with all of those issues. We have seen floods and tornadoes and earthquakes. Russia is over there invading Ukraine. We saw George Floyd murdered live on national TV. So again, it's really no wonder that the question is, where is God? Where is God in all of this chaos? Why hasn't he stepped in? Does he even care about those children? Why did he do something to stop the killer from coming in and killing all those kids? Could he have stopped the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all of the host of others who have lost their lives needlessly? So tonight we want to try to tackle that question, if you will. I want to tackle that question. If God is a good God, then why does he allow bad things to happen? And so we have Ricky here, Pastor Ricky. He is our in-house theologian, if you will, coordinator of our AKI and Advancing the Kingdom Institute. So, Ricky, let me just ask you, I'll just say to you, one of the most controversial Christian issues is understanding God and God's relationship with evil. And so, again, we ask the question, if there is a God, then why did God let this happen? We ask, does God actually make bad things happen? We ask, why do bad things happen to good people and good things to bad people? Those are the questions that we ask. And those are the questions I know you've heard too. So, theologian in residence, let's talk about that. Talk to us as to what it is when we are trying to understand God and his relationship with evil.
I don't know. Let's go watch Abbott Elementary. What you're asking. All jokes aside, but I had to do it in there. You said it plainly. The question of God and if there is a relationship to God and evil and what does it constitute, that really is a hot button theological question. I mean, yeah. It's been forever. It's the question of trying to. I mean, it's even within the Bible itself, which we'll get to. We pull out certain passages, but it's like the question that we have always wrestled with is why do bad things happen to good people? Sometimes why do good things happen to bad people? Why does it seem like God is silent or God is not acting on our behalf when things are happening? Why is it sometimes that God is there and then some moments God isn't? Yeah. Even Jesus, one moment Jesus is in full communion with God. He's being transfigured. God is speaking, say, hey, this is my son, listen to him. Jesus gets baptized. The Spirit rests on him. But then on the cross, Jesus is saying, my God, where are you?
Yeah. So,
I mean, Jesus wrestled with the Odyssey. So the topic that you're looking at, and I'm gonna sound very Minister Janine McCall like I'm about to use a heavy seminary word. The overall topic is the Odyssey. That's THEODICY. The Odyssey. The Odyssey is a breakup of two Greek words: Theos, which means God, and Dike, which means righteousness or justice. So what it is an attempt to explain why a good, almighty, and all-knowing God permits evil. Because there's certain things that don't make sense. If God is good, why would God allow evil? Mm-hmm. If we say God is all-powerful, then why doesn't God stop evil? Or if God is all-powerful, omniscient, so that means God knows what's going to happen, or all-knowing, God knows what's going to happen, but yet things still happen. So why is that? And this is something that sometimes atheists will use to argue against God, because if there is a good God and there is still evil, that must mean that there really is no God, or this God that we claim we believe in really has no power to stop evil. Mm-hmm. And I can understand the argument, but I mean, but as a believer, that's a question we have to wrestle with. And this is really the thing that I would say has turned some believers off from the church, is trying to understand, okay, why did this good God allow this to happen to me, or allow me to lose this person, especially when there's a death in the family? Why did this God take this person away from me? Or God, I needed you, you did not come through. It's a hard question to try to understand and try to wrestle with. I mean, so really, with the Odyssey, there's think of the Odyssey as the Odyssey is the school, but there's a bunch of different classes. So there's a bunch of different ways that people try to understand the Odyssey, and we'll get into that tonight. Some of the different theories that people have, or that theologians have put forward, even some homegrown beliefs that we have about trying to understand God and evil. And I guess the first question that we really have to wrestle with is, what we understand as evil. What's evil?
Okay.
So, and you can stop me however you want. Within theology, I would say there's two forms of evil, if you will. There's what you will call natural evil, and there's what you will call moral evil. So natural, what happens in nature, what can happen just in general, and there's moral evil, which is something which is more deliberate, a little more sinister. So what's an example of natural evil? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you can ready to answer the question, because I would say, okay, what's natural evil?
Right. So natural evil would be like if there's a bad storm that happens, Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
The hurricane, you could say, was natural evil. Things got destroyed, things got flooded. Okay, so you can say that's natural evil. Anytime a tornado comes, there's natural evil. The tornado isn't sinning against you. It's just the way that nature works. You get sick, it's natural evil. Now, if you're deliberately spreading it, that's something else. But just catching a cold or getting cancer, that's natural evil. Okay. Even though we believe that that we can argue or believe that things may have changed after the fall in Genesis, there was still no guarantee that you were going to live forever. There was no guarantee that you would never have any sickness. So natural evil. We get older. Some of the things that we're able to do at 20, we can't do at 40. Or even things that we could do at 20, that we couldn't do at 20, we could do at 10. So I mean, as we get older, our bodies are frail. They're subject to change. They're brittle. We're not built to last forever. So some things will naturally happen to us. If an animal comes to attack you, there's a Rottweiler, you go to a neighborhood and a dog comes after you. You don't say, stop, don't sin against me. You run. That's a natural evil. Now, a moral evil is something different. A moral evil is deliberate. A storm is not deliberate. A storm just happens. Moral evil is like if I'm oppressing somebody, if I murder, if I'm lying, I'm robbing, I'm doing injustice. Anything I'm deliberately doing against somebody to harm them or put myself above them or whatever, that's a moral evil. And there's some times where natural evil and moral evil can work in tandem. Again, let's go back to Hurricane Katrina. The hurricane itself was a natural evil. However, how FEMA responded to the African-American community, that was a moral evil. When Kanye West got on there and said George Bush don't care about poor Black people, he was calling out the moral evil that was happening. That people were getting displaced, land was getting taken from them. That's moral evil. Yeah. That's injustice. But it was exacerbated because of a natural evil. Or even if you get sick, that's natural evil. Or that if I come down with cancer, that's a natural evil. But if the hospital won't admit me because I don't have insurance, that's moral evil. You're deliberately not taking care of me. That's sick. And this is the place where I'm supposed to get care because I don't have certain paperwork.
Okay, but so we get that. We got natural evil, we have moral evil. We get that. But it still comes back to the bottom line is, if God is God and God is, let me just back up. The fact that if we even start off with if God is God is an issue right there, because that's even questioning. But since God is God, then the question some would ask, well, why isn't he God in power over both moral evil as well as natural evil?
Well, that comes back to theodicy and trying to rationalize where God is. And there's two, I would say, predominant fields of thought about it, and then we can get into the individual theories. But there's the Calvinist thought, and I'll put that in the comments. The Calvinist thought. The Calvinist thought is that everything is predestined. That means everything about us is written from start to finish. So everything that happens is because God willed it that way. Everything that happens because God wrote our story from start to finish. This is how Karen B. Johnson's life is going to go from 19 to 2022. And then there's what you would call there's the free will thought, which is saying that things happen because of our choices, and that God just works within our choices. So there's two overall themes or schools of thought about how does this life work. Is evil ordered because that's how God just allowed or arranged for our life to be, or is evil because we're allowed to have free choice, and the choices that we make can cause evil. So there's a couple different theodicies that we can throw out. You want me to go there, or you want to ask some more questions? Go there.
Well, we do. Yeah, we're going to go there, but there is a question in the chat.
Sure.
So it was dealing with moral evil, and the question was, so would climate change be moral evil? And I would say climate change, for the most part, yes, would be, because there's a lot that we can do can control that. We can control, we can control a lot of what's happening, as far as the icebergs and what's happening up with the ice caps and so forth melting. That's on us.
Yes. As we have grown technologically, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Pastor. But as we've grown technologically, the things that we have learned, the things we have started to develop, have, yes, in some ways made our life better, I guess, mechanically, but it has harmed the earth naturally. So there are some things that if we don't regulate it, or if we don't do it right, it will continue to be worse and will continue to aggravate nature. So yeah, I would agree. Climate change would be a case of moral evil, especially if you know that what you're doing is causing harm, but you choose to ignore it. Yeah, I would completely agree.
Okay, and you were going on with your next one now?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, there are different theories. Like I said, there's a bunch of them, but I'm only going to hit on a couple.
I don't know.
What's better? Did you freeze or did I freeze? Karen? Well, she appears to be frozen. All right, so we'll continue going because Mom froze. Hopefully she'll jump in. There you go. You good now, Dr. K?
Yeah, I mean, I lost everything. So I mean, you were going round and round in circles, and I was going round and round in circles. I didn't know it was me. I didn't know it was you. I just sat here and just figured it'd come back sooner or later.
Yeah, the producer just told me it was you, but it's all good. All right, so
okay, yeah, I don't know who. Maybe I got too much going on around here. Say that again.
I was just saying where you want to go next.
All right, we do see some questions coming up, and so not questions or comment. If bad things didn't happen, we wouldn't need to run and depend on God. That part is true. But that is true for those who, right, and that is true for those who. How would I want to say this? It depends on your relationship and where you are with God as to whether or not you can accept that part. And our whole conversation here tonight is just to lay information out, if you will, so that you can just kind of begin to come to your own conclusions as to the answers to some of these questions, or because what's going to end up happening is the way Ricky started off. We really don't have any good answers. No definitive answers. This is something that theologians have been discussing over the centuries, and here we are again. So you're going to have folks who going to hold fast to that, but we want to talk to the persons too who and try to help to encourage people who are really struggling with this thing. We have one bringing up, Rochelle, as she said, I felt this way ever since 9/11. I wish God had stopped that somehow. It was heartbreaking. Yeah. And I think with the recent shooting with the kids that involved, was it Valvalde? I don't know if I had the right name, down in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about it, of how all of that went down, you do ask God, why didn't you stop that? And I know their parents asking the same question. Why didn't you stop that? Why, when he crashed the truck, didn't he just hurt himself? Or why was that allowed to happen? And that is the struggle that many people have with that.
So to that, and I was listening to our pastor, Dr. Howard John Wesley, about the Odyssey, and he had brought that up. So if we're looking at what the Odyssey is, that's saying we're trying to understand God, we're trying to understand God and God's relationship to evil. And like I said, you have the Calvinist thought that says that everything is predestined. And then what was slipping my mind is the second, which is called process theology. And process theology means that there are some things that, okay, if we're saying that overall, if we're saying God is all loving, all knowing, all powerful, for us to understand God's relationship to evil, one of those things has to be untrue. And what our pastor said, and you can take this how you want to, is that, do I separate that God is not that God isn't all loving? No, I believe that in everything God does, God is rooted in love. Do I believe that God has all power? Yes, for God to be God, that has to be more than what I am. So God must have all power. However, the question could be, where does God's knowledge come from? So, and he said it now, so I'm gonna say it too. This could get me kicked off, but where is there a defining point of where God's knowledge or God's thought about what may happen stops? For example, if we have free will, meaning we have the ability to make choices, we have the ability to decide one way or another. I can decide today if I want to wear pants or I want to wear shorts. I can decide today, do I want to be nice to people, do I want to be a jerk? I can make decisions of myself. It says that God knows all of the decisions that we can make, but God may not know what decision we're going to make until we've actually made it. But what God does is act within our decisions. I hope I didn't lose you on that. I hope that makes sense. So it's kind of like as a parent. If I put in front of Tristan chocolate or vanilla ice cream, I know which one he's going to choose. I know he's going to choose the vanilla. Did I make him? No. But even still, even if he decides not to, let's say he decides, I have an idea what he may do. I know what his choices are, but he could surprise me. He could do something. So I may not know for sure until he does it. So the question is, where does God go? Hold on, Dr. J. What you jump to? Because whatever it is working now.
Look, let me tell you something. Maybe we need to stop and pray one more game, because I'm gonna tell you this thing over here. I got kicked totally out. So clearly
you did. You started going on the squirrel screen.
The enemy, clearly, yeah. I mean, clearly the enemy that doesn't want us to have this conversation on tonight, because we've never had this much trouble before.
I know, right? This crazy. It's the curse of Abbott Elementary.
I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Well, it's gone 35. So I don't know. So you're gonna have to bring me up to speed where you cut off, because as you can see, I went in circles, was frozen. Okay. I can't tell if it's you freezing or me freezing.
It probably was me. No, probably was you. But what I was doing, I was talking about what Howard John Wesley said about process theology, saying that with process theology overall, we're saying that God is all loving, all knowing, all powerful. For us to understand God and evil, one of those things has to be untrue, or not fully to the way that we think about it. So he's saying that, can I believe that God is devoid of love? No. Can I believe that God lacks power? No. God has to be more than what I am. But is it a possibility that God may not know every single thing that we're going to do, but God knows the choices that we have, and God will work within the choices that we make because of free will? You follow me on that?
Okay. Yeah, I follow you, and I could see why that could be controversial when because if you even raise the question
Yeah.
that is there a possibility that God may not know everything, can just kind of make his rattle.
And that's exactly
You
what
know
he
what I mean?
said too. He said, I know some people are going to cry, quit my church or turn me off after I say this. But where does God's, is there a limit to God's knowledge in terms of God may know your choice, know your the types of choices you have, may not know what's going to happen until you actually make the actual choice. I don't know. I mean, that's what he's saying. So that's just another way of trying to understand this whole question. And trying to understand.
Was that his belief, or that was just that just a theory? That was his theory, or I mean, he was just proposing this thought.
It actually was his belief too that God knows your choices that you have available, but God doesn't know what you're going to do until you decide. So what I was kind of equating it to is like, if I understand how he's saying it, how he's breaking it down, it's kind of like, as a parent, if I go to a restaurant, I'm pretty much sure that after 40 years, you have a good idea of what I'm going to choose because you know my taste. You know what I like, you know what I don't like. Okay. Just because you have a good idea what I may choose, you don't really know what I'm going to do until I do it. I could surprise you. I could do something that you don't, really expect. But overall, as a parent, you have a good idea of what could happen. You know my choices. So I guess that's kind of the way Mike could look at it. I'm not saying that's exactly my belief. I'm not saying that's first Christian belief at all. I'm just saying that this is a theory. That all of it is just a theory. Yeah.
Right.
And like I said,
we want to make sure everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we want to make sure everybody understand that this just a theory, a thought. But even with that thought and that theory, then that to me throws everything about God in question and how we believe him. Because if we believe he's all knowing and all powerful, how is it even possible for an omniscient God to not know something? I mean, to me, that's where he's one step above your parent analogy. Yeah, as a parent, I pretty much have no idea what you might be doing or might choose, but that's my limitation as a human. That's my I'm finite. I'm limited. But we're talking about an unlimited God. So an unlimited God, from my theology, knows everything that a person is about to do. To me, the question then comes back, then why does God allow that person to do it?
And that's
even though it is outside that person's will.
I guess.
Right. And so that comes back to the whole gift of free will.
Right.
Right. Am I frozen again? Am I still live? Where am I?
No, you're live. I can see. You're good. So yeah, which leads to a whole nother, idea. So there is the theodicy of free will, which is that God does not create evil, but evil can't be avoided without depriving us of our freedom. So saying that yes, evil can happen. God knows what's going to happen, but we have to have a choice in this. So that's the free will model of theodicy. That's what the Garden of Eden is all about. That's what the tree of knowledge of good and evil is. Adam had to have a choice. I'm gonna follow or I'm not gonna follow. I'm gonna choose the good. I'm not gonna choose the good. But then you can have the people come back and say, well, then did God set him up then by putting the tree in the garden in the first place? And you see why the theologians don't come to an answer for this.
Okay, so you said God set him up.
Actually, I had somebody say that in Bible study one time when we used to run young adult Bible study. It made me stop because I laughed for a second, but I'm like, I understand your point. And the question was, if God knows what Adam was going to do and God put the tree there, then isn't it technically God's fault?
Oh my gosh. No, because God, but he put the tree there and he gives us the free will because he wants us to choose him because we want to choose him.
Yeah.
He wants us to choose right because we want to choose right as a way of honoring and showing our love and affection for him.
Mhm.
But the thing of it is, and I guess the thing that we can struggle with is that God is so how would I want to say this? He so respects free will to the point that he would allow us to make decisions that go totally against his will. He just won't infringe on our choices. But he will work with our choices. You know, he
Yeah.
just won't infringe upon them. And I guess I guess to be honest, on the human side, it's like, well, God, go ahead. It's okay to infringe if you want to. I mean, you can infringe.
Right. So, I mean,
All right, we have any questions coming up?
It's funny because in this one, I'm seeing more comments where people are sharing, what it is that they believe, and that's what this is going to. That's good, because that's what this type of conversation provokes, is to provoke your thought of,
exactly,
because we're not going to tell you this is what it is at all. We're not going to say this is how God operates. We're not going to say that, because honestly, this is the conversation that has been going on since the Bible, of trying to understand God and evil. And it's a thing that has not really come to a complete resolution at all. And it won't come to a resolution, I think, until we get to heaven. To be completely honest, when we finally see things clearly, we see things as they are, we see things from God's perspective. Finally, that's when we may understand. But as of right now, we're not going to have that.
So let's talk that through too. So how do we help the person who is struggling with that? How do we help that mom, that dad, that grandmom, grandfather who child didn't home because they were killed at school? How do we help the person who trust God, believed that he was a healer, he could heal? He read in scripture how, Jesus is healed, and how if we just trust and believe that by his stripes we were healed. And yet, as much as they prayed and believed God was going to bring their loved one home whole and healed, it didn't happen. And so now they're struggling with, okay, so how do we begin to help them with that struggle?
That's a question. I think the first thing that we do is we try to stay away from some of our Christian cliches.
Such as?
We stay away from some of our own theodicies, such as God doesn't make mistakes. That's the first one I can think. Matter of fact, I had a couple of them. A couple of theodicies that we say. We like to say what? God doesn't make mistakes. I think we stay away from saying that. I think we stick, because
don't question God.
Don't question God. God doesn't make mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes was the first thing I heard after I found out Dad died. I'll never forget it. Because the day, once you didn't even say he died, I just knew that he did because of how you were. And the first person that actually spoke to me was my aunt, and she said, God doesn't make mistakes. I know she was trying to help. I know she was trying to save the pain, but I guess in that time of anger, I blasphemed. Whatever blasphemy is, I said, well, he just made one because I'm hurt. So don't use those type of lines where you can say God doesn't make mistakes, or we said everything happens for a reason. Don't question God. Don't do that. Or with another way that we try to cope is I see this one plenty of times, that God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. I get it. We're trying to make sense of why things are the way they are. But I mean, I think staying away from those cliches and those type of things is the first thing you can do to help somebody. When you look at the book of Job, the book of Job is the perfect book when it comes to theodicy. Job is suffering. He's lost his sons and daughters. He's lost his wealth. He's lost his possessions. His wife is saying, curse God and die. He's losing his health. Job is going through, and his friends come, and his friends sat with him for 7 days and didn't say anything. They just sat in silence. When they sat in silence, Job was okay. He had people to mourn. All we can really do is just sit with you and listen sometimes, because I can't tell you one way or another. But the issue happened when they started talking to Job, because the rest of Job is a four-way conversation between him and his three friends, and they're basically arguing with him, saying that, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're going to do this because you're not as good as you thought you were. You're going to do this because God is giving you what you deserve. God don't make mistakes. You probably did something to tick God off. I think so. What do we say to a person that's going through? You don't try to beat them over the head with the Bible or say that God don't make mistakes or whatever. What you do is you just shut up and listen, and you cry along with them. That's the best you can do at that time, is just listen to them, let them say what they need to say, let them get it out, is what you do when a person's going through. Because ultimately, and I say this for myself, that yes, I've had people come to me and say, why God? And all I can tell you is, I don't know. I do not know. I can't give you an answer. I don't know why your son or your daughter did not come back home. I don't know why that police officer pulled you over. I don't know why, you are dealing with this illness. I don't know why. It sucks. I don't know why. But all I can do is just sit here with you and pray to God that we get an answer, or pray to God that God carries us through this. That's the best you can really do, because any answer could get shot down and presuppose that when you ultimately don't know. We don't know why God does. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. You just said that sometimes it's the spirit of presence is what you need. Like I said, Job's friends, they practice the spirit of presence first, and then when it's until they start talking, that issue. Sometimes you need to be there. Just be there and just listen. That's most I got. Dr. K, you frozen again? Look like she's coming back slightly but surely. Mike, can you hear me? There you go. I got you now.
Okay, am I back?
You're robotic, but I can hear you. So yeah, I mean that's really.
Am I back?
There you go. I can hear you. Go ahead, just go for it.
No, I thank goodness I could hear you. You couldn't hear me.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with the ministry of presence. Like you said, Job's friend messed up when they opened their mouth.
Yeah, that's when it messed up.
If they had just remained quiet and just sat there with them, that was all he really needed. He didn't need them to try to explain to him why he was suffering.
And here's the thing about the book of Job.
And I'm assuming I'm frozen again.
No, we can hear you. And here's the thing with Job that makes it even more powerful.
Some of her Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we're gonna take up a collection for Pastor K's Wi-Fi.
I got a Wi-Fi booster. I mean, I don't know what the problem is.
It ain't boosting. I'm gonna blame your dog in the background.
Boosting. It's not boosting.
Oh, that is terrible.
I didn't know he was back.
And you know they won't let you have it.
I didn't know he was back.
But,
I know, I understand,
off. Y'all funny. But the thing I want to add about even the book of Job, that I want to say is that Job suffers, and on our end, because we know that we see the story, we know why he suffered, but Job never gets an answer why he suffered. When he's questioning God, he's going at God, and God gives him 77 questions, and God, what God does, God ultimately flexes on him at the end. Where God's saying, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Can you tell me the world's dimensions? So God just laid into him, but at the very end, Job says, I'm comforted. Because what he come to realize is that, no, I don't know why I suffer. I don't know why I lost my sons and daughters. I don't know why I lost my wealth. I don't know why I lost my health. But I understand that God is still in control. That God still knows what's happening. And that's all we get sometimes, is that, no, we don't know why. why things are crazy. We don't know why, Putin is launching war. We don't know why we are still in 2022 still really third class citizens at times. I don't know why, but I still gotta believe that there's still a God that's watching over me. And that's all I got. My faith and my trust. You there?
And I think,
okay, there you go.
I think that's really because God does not. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, you're good.
Am I good?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's why God doesn't give us all of the answers. I think that's why God doesn't fix everything for us and things don't turn out the way we want them to turn out. I believe in essence what the takeaway is, God just wants us to trust him for who he is. Trust that we can see how he could have fixed the situation, stopped the situation, or whatever it may be, that at the end of the day, what he wants from us is total and complete trust. And you just put that up there. Total and complete trust.
Yeah. That's the faith and trust model of the Odyssey, which is, it doesn't try to answer why there is evil, but it just affirms that ultimately God is good and is to be trusted despite our difficulties. Mm-hmm. For me and to my other folks, I mean, that's the model that fits me the most. I can't answer you why there's evil. I can't. Can I say the fallen world? Sure. But I can't give you anything else. I can't tell you why else. All I can do is I can just trust that there's a God that's watching over me that I'm going to depend on. Even when I don't always feel his presence or know what he's doing, I still got to trust that he does know what he's doing. I got to trust that he does know what's going to happen. It's the best I got. You're still good, Pastor. Keep rolling while you're still good. Mom, are you there? Karen V. Johnson. Yeah, you're right. I did speak too soon. So, yeah, I saw this question pop up, and it's a very good question. Do you think things will simmer down once Trump is shut down? It's been an earthquake of evil since he was elected. No. Because I'm going to say that even before he got elected, things were already building up anyway. I mean, Trump was already Trump was preceded by Palin, Sarah Palin, back when McCain was running. So I mean, you saw how there was a rise of the Tea Party and right-wing extremism was really creeping up then. Trump is just the manifestation of all that stuff, that actually became president. So no, do I think it's gonna? I don't think it will simmer down. But yet, do I think he's the root cause of of every single thing? No. I mean, it's not. We're in a crazy world now where it can be on both sides, where it's you either for us or you're against us, where there's really not much grace for compromise or actually having fruitful discussions. It's more so you're on my side or you're not on my side. I'm gonna shut you down or I'm not gonna shut you down. So I mean, that's what I feel about it. Dr. K, back. Look like I can see you. You're still not there?
I don't know. I don't ever know if I'm back. I'm in or out.
You are. I can hear you now. You're good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
You see me moving? Am I frozen? I'm here.
No, I hear you. As long as I hear you, that's all I need.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. So, we're going to kind of hit on that question that popped up regarding.
So what I think she was going to say was we're going to hit on that next week. Hopefully she'll be in a different location, better Wi-Fi.
Am I out or in?
No, you're in when you talk. I can hear you. Hello? Well, I'm gonna go ahead. So As I
Yeah,
thought
you can hear me? I'm on? Yeah, you keep going.
okay. But I believe she was going to say that, yes, we're going to hit on that next week. This was the first part about, ball of confusion. This was only to really address, God and evil the best way we could. But then next week, we're really going to get into end time, eschatology and, end time theories. I believe we may be having a guest on next week as well. That's where we're really going to focus next week. Are you back in, Pastor Cat?
I don't know. You have to tell me.
I can hear you. So go ahead and just keep talking.
Oh, okay. All right. No, you pretty much summed it up. I'm just going to leave it to you to kind of close things out because I'm in and out. I'm in and out. So if you still can hear me, I just want to thank everyone who joined us today and to this evening, and thank you for your patience. And so I might be frozen again. So Ricky, you go ahead and wrap it up for me.
We can hear you. You were fine. You were good. You were good. Go while your connection's still up.
Well, no, because I can't tell,
We can hear you. You're okay. Just keep talking.
But yeah, so, it's like, all right, we're talking about signs of end times. And because also that question, of course, has come up as well. And that is, with everything that's going on, does this mean that Jesus is about to come back? And so we want to get into that. And also while we're at it, we want to encourage folks to jump into our Bible studies because we will be in our Bible studies studying about end times. So further information will be coming out in reference to that. So we hope to see you there. And yes, what was that about YouTube jail? Hopefully we'll be out. When is that sentence over with, Ricky?
It should be this Sunday. We should be at a YouTube jail. And it was that during Trump that got us in trouble too.
Okay. Yeah. It did.
You good? And yes, our small group studies, we're going to be, for pretty much the majority of them, on Tuesday night and Wednesday night, they're going to be really focusing on the book of Daniel. I believe when Pastor Queen comes back in October, he'll be focusing on the book of Daniel as well. If you go on the church website, I just posted it in the comments. If you go under small group studies, that's going to be under, if you go to the website and you go under events, there's a whole section for small group studies. That's when you can sign up for a Bible study. And we really encourage you to join a Bible study with Pastor Queen, Minister Sharon McKell, and Elder Irma Holland. That's on Tuesdays. Wednesday afternoon, Minister Chris, he's an ever faithful vet. He's going to be on there on Wednesdays at noon. 7 o'clock will be Elder Barry and Minister Lenore for studies. And if you want to do a couple study, that's on Thursdays. But the Sunday, Tuesday, and the Wednesday studies, those are the ones that I'm really focusing on the book of Daniel and when we really get into end time discussions like that. I can see you blinking, Mom, so I guess you're good.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you're good. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. No, that was it. You pretty much put it all out there. Again, want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, and we hope to see you back next week. And we do have some pretty good lineup for the weeks to come, so we hope to see you. Okay. Good night, good folks.
Good night, everybody. Thank y'all for joining us.